In our world, we work in threes. There's beginning, middle, and end, morning, noon, and night, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, birth, life, and death. Same goes for storytelling. Most stories are broken up in three parts. Act 1, which is the setup, Act 2 is the journey, and Act 3 is the ending. This is one of the reasons why the 3-act structure is receptive, because it's made up of 3 parts. This structure has been around for many centuries. Hi, my name is Vivian and I'm an aspiring sci-fi fantasy writer. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about the origins of the 3-act structure and the bare bones of the 3-act structure. There are 7 different plot structures out there, but today we're just going to focus on the 3-act structure. What is the 3-act structure? The 3-act structure is a model in narrative fiction that divides a story into 3 parts, often called the setup, the confrontation, and the resolution. The origin of the 3-act structure. In Aristotle's Poetics, he analyzes the structure of tragedy. He wrote that a well-formed plot must have a beginning, a middle that logically follows the beginning, and an end that logically follows the middle. Aristotle splits the plays into 2 parts, complication and unraveling. The problem of the plot, the central problem of the plot, is known as the knot. The knot, which is the problem, needs to be unraveled in order to be solved. During unraveling, that is when the problem has been resolved. Today's 3-act structure. Today, Aristotle's ideas have been taken and expanded upon. The 3-act structure is now a model used in fiction that cuts up a story in 3 parts. In modern times, Sid Field is a screenwriting lecturer, and he has lectured and written about the 3-act structure. Him and Michael Haug and others have written about the 3-act structure. Act 1 is the setup, the inciting incident, and the first plot point. In Act 1 is where you establish your character, their environment, their allies, their opponents, and also the villain or the problem they will be going up against. The inciting incident is the event that happens before the protagonist gets pushed into Act 2, which is the event that happens in the first plot point. So the inciting incident leads to the first plot point, which is the door of no return, and the protagonist goes through that door and into Act 2, which is the journey. Act 2 is the rise in action, the trials and tribulations, the midpoint, and the second plot point. I do suggest that when you are outlining your Act 2, that you figure out what your midpoint will be. What event will mark your midpoint? The midpoint is the marker for your Act 2. It will help you to not make your Act 2 too long or too short. Once you figure out what your midpoint event is going to be, then planning out the rest of your Act 2 will become much easier. In Act 2, make sure you give your protagonist a lot of problems that they have to overcome. The second plot point is where your protagonist executes their plan, but everything falls apart. Act 3 is the resolution. This is where the climax occurs, the epic battle, the fallen action, and then the finale. Here, make sure you also give the final state of your protagonist. Is your protagonist going to live a happy life? A not so happy life? Are they going to move, remain in the place that they've lived at all their life? You gotta give the audience the final state of your protagonist. A book I recommend is Writing Screenplays by Michael Haug. I know that most of us are trying to write novels, but I do feel that screenwriting, movies, books, plays, they all have similarities when it comes to structure, plot structure. I was first introduced to the 3-act structure in high school when we were deep diving into Aristotle's Poetics, only the section about tragedy. But then when I read this book, Writing Screenplays That Sell, it really broke down the 3-act structure further for me. There's not only one chapter about the 3-act structure, it's a whole section with multiple chapters. I also suggest that you guys pay attention when you're watching like movies and TV shows, because they do follow that structure, and it's the reason why a lot of us like watching movies and TV shows and binge watch Netflix and all that stuff. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to get more videos, see more videos from me. Also, I have free how to plot your novel worksheets below. The details will be in the description. Go ahead and watch the next video here. I'll talk to you soon. Bye!